the reason the opium begins to be exported to China by British is that the British are importing tea from China. I know. They're importing tea to such an extent that I think 10% of foreign revenue, 10% of revenue is just going for tea. There's some crazy statistics like that. Okay?
10% of revenue China ko aira
I know. British revenue
expenses.
British ko revenue, I know. British ko expenditure is on tea from
expenditure, right? Yeah.
It's going to China. Right. Okay, I know. Okay. And China does not buy anything from British. China basically says we don't have anything that you.
Now, when we say British ko 10% of expenses, the
UK,
entire
UK
ko
all of Great Britain basically, including its colonial holdings, everything. Like,
wow, that's massive.
That's a massive sum where they are drinking tea like anything. I know. So the British realize that all our silver, I know, they have to pay Chinese in silver. So all the silver is going to China. I know. Chinese don't buy anything for us. But we have to do something to offset this. What they do is they cultivate opium in the poppy in India, Bihar, Champaran, all of these places. I know. The Parsis are the big time dope dealers, I know, who are basically shipping the opium, and that's how the revenue is being offset. The trade balance the British started exporting opium to China to balance out the trade deficit.
So that was entirely designed.
Yeah, it was a design policy. Amitabh Ghosh actually has done a very good recent study, Smoke and Mirrors. Essentially, that is where you can see the century of humiliation begin from. You can see that there is a design policy of intoxicating an entire population, where opium is just being exported so that you have to pay for the tea somehow. You're paying for the tea, but why should I pay for, why should I be importing? I want to export something. And what the British exported was opium. So that's what I know. This is a detailed. There is obviously other missions and all that. But so sorry.
So I'm like, idea ki so 10% of entire expenses British Empire ko gairako cha tea ko lagi. Jun opium trade gare tele kati ko balance offset garcha bhanera.
No, that I really have to check that numbers. I think Amitabh Ghosh has actually done a detailed study about this. More than the, let's say, the offsetting of the revenue or the deficit, it's also the weakening of the population. Where British influence.
Was there intent with intent ne gare aur tyo?
I mean, it's retrospectively the intent of the colonialism. Imperialism as a policy is not like basically off the cuff. It's regarded, there is a core idea behind it, which is that I want to rule the world, or I want to rule this particular piece of territory, and I will do whatever it takes. The imperialism ko basic idea, basic tenet hai. How you justify it is different. So for instance, you can justify it saying, I'm bringing civilization to the heathens, the common one. The other, white man's burden. You come to these undeveloped places and you want to develop them. India, the British gave us railways. But they may have given you railways, but they took away so much. And there are multiple layers to colonialism also. Or just in Nepal, colonialism bhoina. But we felt the effects of colonialism. How? Because the Rana dynasty stayed in power for 100 years because of colonialism. The Rana dynasty made themselves rich because of colonialism, colonial demand. Hamle hamro timber बेच्थ्यो, hamle hamro मान्छे बेच्थ्यो. All the money, we are not getting the money, no. The country was not getting the money. The Rana dynasty was. So there is an idea called crypto-colonialism, where basically it's not colonialism in a proper name. Colonialism the extraction part of colonialism is always under operation. So Nepal has 100 years where our resources, our people, are for the Ranas to command at the mercy of the British. भएको त त्यही हो होइन. I mean, there is no other reason why 60,000, 70,000 Nepalis are going to fight the world wars. होइन. And there is also no reason why Nepalis continue to fight other people's wars, except for this whole practice of telling Nepalis that like, oh, तिम्रो त वीर गोर्खाली हो. Right?
सो यो किन भन्छ यो ओपियम थिङलाई चाहिँ मैले दुइटा वेले हेरेँ कि एउटा भनेको इट क्यान बी हामीहरूको ट्रेड डेफिसिट यत्रो छ त्यसलाई जसरी भए पनि हाम्रो प्राइमेरी गोल भनेको ट्रेड डेफिसिटलाई चाहिँ ब्यालेन्समा ल्याउने त्यसको लागि वी सेल एनिथिङ इट जस्ट ओपियम ह्यापन्स टु बी वान अफ देम द्याट्स वान वे टु लुक एट इट. अर्को कुराहरू भनेको ओके ट्रेड डेफिसिट पनि छ तर हाम्रो गोल इज अल्सो टु विकन द पपुलेसन सो त्यसको लागि ओपियम विल बी द बेस्ट थिङ भन्ने कुरा. सो यो दुईवटा मध्ये कुन हो जस्तो लाग्छ किनभने फर्स्ट वानमा द्याट इज नट बाई डिजाइन ओपियम पठाएर पपुलेसन विकेन गर्ने बाई डिजाइन होइन इट्स अ बाई प्रडक्ट. सेकेन्ड केसमा चाहिँ द्याट्स अ डिरेक्ट गोल नै.
But why can it not be both? Is my question. I mean, the design, like you said, the first part may be policy that no, I'm little you offset. Like you said, it's an offset. The addiction is an offset, right? It's a byproduct, right? But once you see the byproduct, you're obviously interested. I know. Colonialism worked in those ways. It worked in ways where, for instance, how did they take over Indian states? They took over Indian states. It's not like, I mean, militarily.
Yeah.
Of course, there was a lot of wars and everything like that. But they took over step by step.
Yeah.
I know. Like, अब जस्तै राजा मर्यो राजाको छोराछोरी छैन होइन they install the puppet होइन त्यो puppet install गरेपछि होइन त्यो सपोर्ट गरिदिन्छ उनीहरूको आफ्नो रेजिडेन्ट हालिदिन्छ. रेजिडेन्ट हालेपछि रेजिडेन्ट स्टार्ट्स टेकिङ मोर पावर रेजिडेन्ट स्टार्ट्स टेकिङ एन्ड देन अल्टिमेटली इन्कर्पोरेसन भएर जान्छ. सो लाइक आई सेड रेट्रोस्पेक्टिभली हेर्ने हो भने चाहिँ अभियसली यु क्यान इम्प्लाइ अ लट अफ थिङ्स फ्रम कोलोनियलिजम. त्यो बेलामा मान्छेहरू लेट्स से लाइक आई मिन one governor may have come and he said, okay, let's sell opium to offset. The next governor may have decided that, the addict Vairaja works for us. I know. And that's why, like, I mean, Napoleon had a great saying, when China awakes. Like, I mean, it's a sleeping dragon. I know. So, I mean, it's a very, very valid reasoning.